Well, good morning. Today, guys, is my first rest day. So this is day 4. And I worked out the first 3 days, which is typical, the way I do my training split. And the way I have it planned for a training cycle right now is going to be 3 days of lifting, a day of rest, 1 day of lifting, a day of rest. And then the cycle begins again. All right, so we're almost through our first cycle here. I have one more workout and then one more rest day, and then we'll start from the beginning again. And this is a typical breakdown. I'll get more into exactly how I break workouts up later on, but for now, I want to weigh in, and I want to talk a little bit about how important rest is. So there's an interesting concept people have, and I think it kind of comes from the bodybuilding culture, and that's that you want to stay in this anabolic state. But exercise is really the opposite. Exercise is catabolic. You're doing damage. Now, in the world of bodybuilding, they do everything they can to stay out of a catabolic state because they're trying to keep their muscle, right? They don't want to break it. Now, if you're an athlete, catabolism is very, very important because it's how you produce energy. So you want to get good at destroying tissue, utilizing resources, things like that, and then you want to get good at putting them back, okay? Now, I said I am trying to get bigger, right? But I'm also an athlete, so I'm not going to be doing strict bodybuilding stuff. I want to be able to break tissue. And if you watched the last couple videos, I even said I might have even lost weight a little bit by that third day. But here's where we catch up, and this is the importance of rest. Now is when the body should be in its most anabolic state, when you're resting. So today, typically I do kind of like an intermittent fast, although in the beginning it's not cinched up. It's not like perfect, like typically I like a 20 hour fast or under eating phase and then a 4 hour eat as much as you can. It's not quite that right now because like I said, I'm in the beginning and I'm trying to get my digestion right and everything. So I'm not doing that yet, but today it's going to be rest, relax, eat a lot. I'll probably do a little bit of like light stretching. I'll probably meditate a little bit, but then I'm just going to take it easy. I mean, that's all there is to it. And this is when the weight is going to begin to be put on, when the body repairs itself. All right, so we're going to weigh in, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But let's first get over to the scale. And just as we've been doing, there she is. And again, I'm going to put the phone down. And we're going to quick weigh. Okay, so here's where we're at. 172.2. So we're a little more than 2 pounds up, like 2.5 thereabouts. And let me just get back to my room here. Now, a good portion of that weight is really the rehydration of my muscles, and not only the rehydration, but the culmination of nutrients in the muscles, more glycogen, things like that. And of course, when there's more glycogen, you can hold a little bit more water. So that's more, not a sign of muscle building really yet, but I look fuller than I did before. I mean, it's hard to see here. I'm not going to do a body thing, but I do look different. But again, partially it's inflammation. That's the first change, and it's just from having worked out 3 days in a row. Very sore. I need this recovery day for sure to catch up. But then also, like I said, the muscles are full because now they're holding more resources. So that's the change you're going to see initially. So, I mean, as far as visually or cosmetically speaking, you can start to see changes very, very quickly. Doesn't mean you're building muscle yet, right? But that's what's going on. So that's a good sign. More so to me than even building muscle at this point, because I'm coming from a place, as you know, where I was severely dehydrated. Everything was just not functioning. My strength was very weak. So my strength is coming back. I feel good. So now it's time, like I said, to really catch up. We did some damage. Let's repair it. And this is the time when you really begin to build muscle. So some people think you just want to, they get into it and they work out every day. It's not the best idea. When I started training with Ken Blackburn back in 2012, he was my original kettlebell sport coach back then. He had a very nice protocol. You work out really hard, really complex workout. There's the kettlebell stuff, there's support work, there's cardio, right? So it's very thorough. It's a couple hour workout maybe, but then the next day you rest. And it kind of worked like that. One day on, one day off, one day on, one day off, one day on, one day off. And it's a nice protocol because you do a lot of damage and you get time to recover. I like that. I like that sort of thing. Now, I'm working out more than that now. My body does respond well to like a heavy stimulus, what they call overreaching. But you got to make sure you get the rest. In terms of like yourself, if you are trying to build muscle or whatever, you got to experiment and see what your body likes. I have had clients whose bodies crave like a heavy stimulus, lots of weight, lots of workouts. But even if that's the case, it's going to catch up with you unless you rest. So, especially if you're trying to build muscle, your recovery days are maybe even more important than your workout days. You got to make sure you're getting proper nutrition. So today, like I said, I'm going to eat a lot of meals. I'm going to eat more like a bodybuilder, and I'm going to rest a lot. My sleep is finally ironed out. That's usually one of the last things that happens is my body's ability to actually relax and sleep. And I got plenty. As you can see, my eyes aren't even open yet today. So that's a good thing. I'm actually able to rest. So there you go. Make sure you are getting your recovery days. Make sure you're getting good nutrition. And I don't just mean macros. Of course, you want a lot of protein, carbohydrates, and fat. You want everything. You need your body to have resources if you want to build muscle. But you also want to make sure your micronutrients are good. So I'm going to be eating not just like, your meats and carbs and things like that, but I'm going to get a lot of vegetables. I'm going to eat a lot of different colored foods, make sure my micronutrients are there. And I haven't talked about supplementation yet, but I have a ton of supplements I take that are loaded with micronutrients to make sure my body's got all the little necessary things it needs to keep my hormone profile good, to make sure it has all the vitamins and stuff it needs for muscle building and cell proliferation. All that's very important. So again, recovery as important as the work. So you got to make sure you do your research. You got to make sure you have the resources to recover from the damage you do. All right. That's it. And like I said, I'll be talking more about nutrition and stuff like that in the future. And probably by the end of this training cycle, we're going to do another look at my body, and you're going to see how much has changed in just a week. Again, not necessarily muscle building, but because it's getting what it needs, the body looks fuller, the muscles look better, and of course, I feel much better. All right, so we'll see you soon.